Have you seen the meme with it's the Captain Jack Sparrow meme? It's like that British admiral or whatever, and he's like, "You are the worst communist I've ever heard of." And it's then the second picture on the meme is Gonzalo, and he said, "Best, but you have heard of me." I'll never get tired of dunking on poor Gonzalo.
For Gonzalo,
Gonzalo, that the Maoists really love Gonzalo and sue me, and I guess I'm not a real communist or anything, but I don't know much about Gonzalo to be honest, and I probably should.
Yeah.
But like I hear that like I heard that some people don't like him, and I hear that others worship the guy. And I will say one thing, his head and like like the poses of like
The
Marx,
sixth
Engels,
head of
Lenin.
Marxism.
He looks so out of place. He doesn't like I've seen
Well,
him.
yeah, yeah.
No, it looks funny. I'm
There's a
never gonna
reason he looks
rock
out of
that.
place. He is out of place.
But could you tell me a little bit that that you know about him?
Um, yeah, I mean, TLDR, it was you there's the problem with Gonzalo and the Shining Path is you have the imperialist propaganda you have to weed through to find out what's BS and what isn't. Like, no, I don't think they're out there boiling babies or anything like that. But essentially, long story short, they didn't have the support of the masses and jumped right into People's War, and of course, it was a disaster. That's just a lesson to be learned. If you're going to jump into direct revolutionary action like People's War now, you need to actually have the support of the masses. He did not.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but that kind of like I feel like that would happen similar. So like to like if Trotsky, if we like Trotsky would sure try like if he was alive and he tried his permanent revolution, I feel like it would be the same way. I mean, if you're like, because they believe in that like a simultaneous revolution worldwide, right? Like every country,
Yeah,
like
yeah, essentially, it's
and I think it'd create more enemies than it would create allies, if you know what I mean.
yeah. I mean, it's if the conditions were right for such an action, then sure. But
Right, right.
in the 1920s and 30s and 40, in no time before or since has that ever been a condition that was feasible. It just hasn't been. And I think that's one of the biggest failings of some of the revolutionary movements is trying to force an action, similar with Gonzalo, what Trotsky would have wanted to do, to force a revolutionary action when the conditions weren't right for it. Cambodia, along similar lines, was disastrous because of just poor application of Marxist theory, and in some cases with Pol Pot, really no application of Marxist theory. Just
Well, Pol
poor.
Pot really has. I found out today that some Maoists they prefer Pol Pot over Ho Chi Minh because I
Yeah,
guess they were calling Ho Chi Minh a Khrushchevite
yes.
and things like that, and they're like Pol Pot is much better, and these guys seemed like really edgy, chronically online people. The way they
Or,
spoke to people, they're like it was just like you're not gonna get anybody towards your side. People are just gonna make fun of you. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's
their Pol Pot is just Elon Musk, I'm kidding.
oof. Yeah,
Look that up.
yeah. It's I
I
won't
love
go
that
that low.
picture.
Pol Pot was uh, there was lots of conditions. Mostly the Cambodian Revolution failed because they were bombed into the Stone Age by the U.S. and left in shambles with a hard right wing uh, dictatorship in place that Pol Pot rightly and the Khmer Rouge rightly rebelled against, but they they were just, the conditions were so terrible. Like, and then they went and just they made the terrible decision of deciding that, well, our biggest problem is that in these collectives they keep selling our goods to Vietnam, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to, their decision on that was to ban money and jump straight into a sort of war communism. And yeah, imagine, it was just, there's like, I'm going to do a long form episode on this for the channel, but it's just a mistake after mistake after mistake in the
They
case of,
do a good job analyzing their
no,
own conditions.
terrible analysis, terrible analysis.